All right, we gotta let it breathe while we get the Facebook groups in here. There's one, there's two. Save the changes. Save the changes. All right, gotta wait for a couple green check marks. There's one.
There it is.
There's. Welcome into another episode of Dove Valley Deep Divers. I am your host, Erick, Trickel, and joining me tonight is the one and only Lance Sanderson. Lance, my man, you haven't had a chance to really react to the Bo Nix news. I was talking about it with Nick the other morning. We do end up going live on Sunday morning because we wanted to talk about the news and everything like that. And I was telling him, when I first saw the news, I thought for sure that somebody made a parody account to tweet out that news. Like that was my initial reaction to
it. So I was actually on the phone with my dad. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a great episode of Dove Valley Deep Divers on a wonderful Friday evening. But I was on the phone with my dad at the time talking about, if the Broncos do manage to win the AFC Championship game, I'm going to try to go down and hang out with those guys, watch the game with my dad and everything. He was at a dinner party and somebody yelled out, Bo Nix broke his ankle. I just saw it on Facebook. I'm like, that's got to be AI. AI did something crazy and made this random post about Bo Nix breaking his ankle. And he's like, no, it's for real. Like Sean Payton just said it at the press conference. I'm like, you cannot be serious right now. So I hung up the phone with my dad, went immediately to Twitter and was like, no, this is real. And I don't know if I've ever had a feeling of you win a game, but you felt like you lost in my entire life. That's literally what it went through my brain. It felt so bad immediately. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
It was definitely a moment like you got the wind knocked out of you.
Yeah, it was, yes.
You were just the great game where Denver came back. They managed to pull it off the way that they pulled it off. And then 15, 20 minutes later, if that, Bo Nix fractured his ankle. He's done for the season. What? Man, that was so tough. I mean, even Nick and I, who are, probably the two biggest Nix doubters on MHH, even we're like, oh man, that absolutely sucks. We feel bad for the guy. He's done a lot to help get the Denver where they are. I mean, not just in terms of overall talent or anything like that, but I mean, if you want to measure heart and grit, Nix is probably top 5 in those in the NFL.
Oh,
I mean, I watched some quarterbacks who I would say take over Nix just because of their talent. But man, when you watch them and they get down late in the games, you can see they give up. Nix, it never gives up. He always keeps fighting for it, and that's such a bonus to him, and it's such a bonus to the Broncos with what they've been able to do this season. So it was definitely heart-wrenching to see that happen.
Absolutely, dude. It's like every single week is how is Bo Nix going to perform? We don't really know. I mean, the Green Bay Packers game, the Jacksonville Jaguars game, where he had really, really good games, but then there's the Raiders game, the Chiefs game, where we're not really doing a whole lot offensively. And then the more you think about it, it took me really kind of 24 hours to process the fact that Bo Nix is not going to be playing in the AFC Championship game, even though he earned that. He did that. He found ways to win games every single week, and he earned the right to be able to play in this game. And it gets ripped away from you. It's like ripping your soul out of your body, because we may be Broncos analysts and analysts at heart. We're Broncos fans and from our souls, dude. We love this team. At least I do. Eric, I know you love this team too. It's so hard to put into words, just the gut-wrenching feeling of what was supposed to be one of the best Broncos moments over the last decade, if not the best Broncos moment over the last decade, to then have it just crushed immediately after the fact by a guy that, I've had some doubts about, but he's continuously proved everybody wrong week after week over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Now, before we start saying hello to the chat, Lance, I didn't do what I normally do. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing actually spinning in a whirlwind dervish of absolute, I want to say the F word here, but that's kind of where I'm at. My oldest son, Jace, probably has a torn labrum in his shoulder, been dealing with the hospital on that. Work is crazy right now. It's been a lot to get to this point this week has been a huge sigh of relief. I had to go in on my off day to go cover for a guy that was sick. It's been a whirlwind of a week, brother. But I'm doing good. It's Friday, and we can get away from that for at least an hour, anyways.
Yeah, man, I hear you. My week has been a little bit different. For those of you tuning in, obviously you can see that my backdrop has changed a little bit. I got some
Yeah.
new shelves in, and so my week was spent putting shelves together, moving Lego sets around, which is a lot more tiring than you would think, especially with the two big guys up here, trying to make sure I don't drop them, and putting shelves together, getting them into place, measurements, getting everything back on there. Still not done. Still have more shelves coming in on top of Shrine Bowl stuff started. The first practices were today. Senior Bowl starts next week. The Shrine Game's on Tuesday, so I'm on top of trying to get all this done. I'm busting my butt with draft stuff behind the scenes, watching, through the practice tape of the Shrine Bowl from today. Gonna be doing the same thing over the next few days. It's busy, but definitely in a different way than yours, but still very exhausting, especially when you're up at 4:00 in the morning and on 2 hours of sleep and still sitting in front of a TV screen 13 hours later.
I think it's crazy the fact that we're sitting here right now on what is the date today? The 24th, January 24th, and the 23rd. We are usually breaking down Shrine Bowl tape and like talking about the draft, and we're sitting here talking about the AFC Championship game this week. Like, it's been a wild ride for you and me,
the conversation's not about the draft yet, and I'm actually really thankful for that. But before we get into the topic of the conversation, which obviously is the championship game, we're gonna say hello to some people here in the chat. We have C Chain coming in. Let's go Broncos. We'll be fine without J.K. Dobbins. We will win. Sean Payton, watch out. Just watch. Michael Ronquillo agreeing with that and also adding in they have confidence in running back RJ Harvey and running back Jalen McLaughlin. They definitely do. E-Dude Music coming in saying happy Friday, everybody, and only 2 days until game day. Only 2 days until game day. Orange Cross, I hope he doesn't play in the Super Bowl. Cough on up to cost the game. RJ and Jaleel should get all the carries. If Denver makes it to the Super Bowl, they could definitely use J.K. Dobbins. Turtle saying, I want to believe we can win, but the JK news is hitting hard because Nix was our leading rusher. Can JK come back in the Super Bowl as his first game and be effective? Who knows? It was definitely a slight chance that he played in this one. I know that we, even Nick and I this morning, we're very hopeful that JK Dobbins could be back, but it was always doubtful. Nick and I, we've been saying that for weeks. It's a long shot that he's back for the AFC Championship game. They're eyeballing the Super Bowl. Long shot for the AFC Championship game. And from what I understand was today was a deciding factor. They wanted to see how he was with the foot. He was still dealing with a little bit of pain with it, leading to him being a little bit more limited in practice, leading to him being ruled out for the game, not fully activated off his injured reserve. Drew Sanders, Lucas Kroll, also not fully activated off injured reserve. So it's definitely a little bit hard for it, and not overly unexpected, but definitely a little bit heart-wrenching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the Luke Wattenberg news, because I thought that he was actually going to be able to play. He was a full participant in practice. I believe that was on Tuesday, a full participant in practice on Wednesday, and then I'm not sure what he was listed at on Thursday. So
he's listed as questionable.
He was listed as questionable. To not have your starting center and also have Alex
he may still be back. He has not been ruled out for the game.
Okay, so we might see Luke Wattenberg. Okay, so that's going to be big, especially for the running game, which hasn't been great. But Luke Wattenberg has been doing some pretty decent work this year as a run blocker. I'm not going to say great, but he's been pretty damn solid for the most part.
Yeah. So if you're worried about it, and he's still not fully activated off injured reserve, don't worry. Denver has typically made their injured reserve moves on Saturday. So tomorrow, that's when we'll likely see Bo Nix placed on injured reserve and Luke Wattenberg activated. Tomorrow, keep an eye out for that. From a lot of what the Broncos beat writers are doing, and a lot of people that I talk with and everything like that, that seems to be what they think is going to end up happening with Luke Wattenberg being fully activated tomorrow, taking the spot made by Bo Nix being put on injured reserve. We also have Mblex coming in saying, I'm here to party. As always, glad you can join us, Mblex. Let's see, anything else here? We have Spaceman said, asking, did Nix go on injury reserve? I'm the conspiracy train. He played in the Super Bowl. He hasn't gone on injury reserve yet. That will happen tomorrow. Whether the corresponding move is Luke Wattenberg activated or not, don't know yet. Bo Nix will be put on injury reserve tomorrow.
From the sound of it, the surgery that he had is going to put him out like 4 to 6 months. It's going to significant time. He'll be back maybe around OTA or
OTA's minicamp.
Yeah, OTA's minicamp, like May, June, somewhere around in there. Yeah. But he's done. There's no chance he's going to be playing in the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah, and dude, congratulations on being able to go to the game. I hope you have a good time. Make sure you are loud. Be loud.
Yes.
Be loud when they're in the huddle. Be loud when
Yes.
they're in the huddle. That is the key point of it. Even though for some reason fans have been conditioned to be loud at the line and when they're lining up, be loud in the huddle. We have Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying 5280, the mile high is real with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate that. Not only is it real, it is also even harder to breathe when it is super cold out.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a cold one. So both teams are accustomed to it, but hopefully, you know, that thin air helps the Broncos a little bit, even, you know, as it does. Todd Osdorf saying, hello, Broncos country. Hello to you, Todd. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday night. Bryant will be back for the AFC Championship game. No Dobbins, and looks like Franklin is out. Franklin is also listed questionable. He is, from what I understand, they're going to test out that hamstring prior to the game on Sunday and see how he's doing with it. And they're optimistic. And I guess that the extra day of rest for Pat Bryant is what got him back, because if it wasn't for that extra day, he would not have cleared concussion protocol. And other news there, he was wearing the Guardian cap during practices, and he definitely should be wearing the game, but we will see on that. Vanderhoff saying, I feel like we were lied to. I expected Dobbins to play. Now I'm pissed off. I don't know who was making it. I mean, actually, I do. Nick and I were a part of that. It was always doubtful, but it was always that hope that Dobbins could play because Denver desperately needed him, and they still can win. And we're going to get into this game here in a minute, but they can still win without J.K. Dobbins. They just need a little bit more.
Just quickly, really fast. I think a person in Denver media that was kind of very skeptical about it first, but over the last couple of days, like, he looks better in practice than I thought he was, is Jeff Legwold from ESPN. Like, he had mentioned multiple times being out there, watching him go through drills and whatnot. He actually looks a lot better than Jeff Legwold expected. So that could have contributed a little bit to that, of where everyone's like, J.K. Dobbins could be back this week. And don't be upset. Like, we kind of already knew that Super Bowl was the best outlook, but there was always the hope. Yeah. So it is what
Tom Pelissaro had it on today on the Insiders show that he pops in on. Is the aim was for the Super Bowl. We are still 2 weeks out from that. It's unlikely that he was that ahead of schedule. Yep. There were some positive signs for it, but he wasn't that ahead of schedule. They still dealing with some foot pain, so he was out. But good news from Sue coming in, saying Adam Rank picked us to win over the Pats. That's always good. Adam Rank has a really good track record of picking the Broncos when almost everybody else is picking against them, and him coming out right. So hopefully he is right here with that one. Let's see. Any other comments here as I'm scrolling through? Pearl Heater saying, hi all. Hello, Pearl. Hope you're having a good Friday night. Jan Berry Sports Highlight also saying, what's up, everyone? What's up to you? Hope you're having a wonderful night. Chase Wellner, DVDD with the fist bump emoji as always. Let's see here. Roy Osborne, I'm here for roll call Broncos country. Good to see you, Roy. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday night. Justin Adams, I'm so depressed about Bo. Just took the air out of my balloon. I was pleased to watch this season unfold, and now I hate the idea of giving a Super Bowl trip to the freaking Pats. It's a tough one. The Patriots are very tough, but I am not fully ready to write off the Broncos. I know that a lot of people are. I know a lot of people were, as soon as the Broncos, the news came out about Bo Nix. Oh, the Denver's going to lose this one. They very well may. But one thing that we know about this team, Lance, and they have shown it time and time again, they are resilient. They don't give up, and they are going to fight their butts off to try to get that Super Bowl. And from talking with people that are around that locker room and around the players, they are really rallying around each other and the Bo Nix news and trying to pick up the torch and carry on and help get a Super Bowl back in Denver, and not just an appearance, a Super Bowl win back in Denver, which they had their internal expectations were Super Bowl back in August. They're really pushing for it internally. Hopefully that pressure doesn't lead to too much and they end up playing poorly, but they have their eyes set on winning this game. They're not going to give up. They're not going to go out without a fight.
No, you're not wrong here. And one of the first things that comes to mind here, maybe it doesn't mean much to the players on the field or even in the game in general, but the Jarrett Stidham meme that's been going around and everyone's changing their profile pictures. I did it myself on Twitter, changing their profile picture to Jarrett Stidham wearing sunglasses and headphones. It's like an old LeBron James meme, I guess. It's been like the amount of rallying around this team and the belief that they have in themselves, the belief that they have in Jarrett Stidham has been so remarkably like loud and just crazy to witness. I mean, there's been former players with I know Max Crosby had a lot of great things to say. A bunch of different other former players that have played with Jarrett Stidham, players in this locker room. They believe, guys. They actually believe that Jarrett Stidham could win this game, and I'm right there with them. I mean, going back and watching some of the tape, like, he's not a slouch. He could be a starting quarterback in this league, maybe a bottom end starting quarterback, but he could definitely do that. I said it multiple weeks ago, multiple different times. I said it on Twitter, said it on the radio the other day. I have more faith in this team winning this game and going to the Super Bowl than I did in 2015 when the Broncos actually went to the Super Bowl and won it. Like, that's where I'm at. I do firmly believe this is a better, well-constructed, more well-rounded team, even with Jarrett Stidham, than with Bo Nix, and I believe they're going to win this game.
Yeah. We have Phil McLaughlin saying, good coming in. Good evening, Eric and Lance. Is Bryant and Wattenberg back and Dobbins out? Dobbins is out. That was confirmed that he's not going to be activated off of injury reserve. It does sound like Bryant will be back. How much, that remains to be seen. And then Luke Wattenberg, from the sounds of it, he will be fully activated off of injury reserve tomorrow and probably take the spot that's opened up with Bo Nix being placed on injury reserve. But we'll have to wait and see on that for sure.
Wasn't that the plan?
We have Pro 16K coming in.
Sorry.
We have Pro 16K coming in saying, go Broncos. It's just one game. I trust Sean will have the boys ready and he will have a great game plan. Broncos win 30-20 and May throws a pick on the last play of the game. It's entirely possible. We'll have to wait and see. Can't wait for this game here. We have Shannon Mills coming in with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Shannon. We appreciate that so much. Saying, good evening. I was so excited that Dobbins was back at practice. Bummed that he is out. Hopefully Jaleel and RJ can get that run game going. Still have faith in this team. Go Broncos. Yeah. I will say that it is a little bit hard to have faith in Jaleel and RJ Harvey after watching them struggle to have a decent run game. And it's weird because the efficiency in terms of success rate has actually gotten better. We're just now missing the explosive runs. And that's it kind of makes sense when you lose a powerful runner that can help wear down defenses like J.K. Dobbins. You know, they're not as tired. And then also doesn't help that you run the ball 14 times in a game when undesigned runs to your running backs, but against a really bad run defense. But I digress. It is definitely a concern for them. Hopefully they can. Fortunately, in the case of RJ Harvey, he is really making his impact felt in pass protection. He had a couple of big reps there against the Bills and as a receiver out of the backfield. You can't have that have the impact as a runner. You need the impact in different ways. RJ Harvey is definitely getting that.
Absolutely.
And honestly, Lance, I hope that this locker room is really feeling the hunger inside of them to go out there and win this game, because they need that hunger. They're the underdogs. They have a lot going against them. They need that hunger inside of them. They may have lost that a little bit towards the end of the season. Hopefully that made it back. Hopefully they all improve, because again, they need it against this game. But speaking of hunger, Lance.
Yeah, guys, have you heard of Gold Belly? It's this amazing site where you guys can get the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the United States. Perfect for game day, perfect for Valentine's Day. Anything else you guys have going on in your life, Gold Belly is the place to go to get great food. It's seriously amazing. Gold Belly will ship you iconic deep dish pizza from Chicago from Lou Malnati's, the original buffalo wings from Anchor Bar in Buffalo, Guy Fieri's unbelievable trash can nachos, real Philly cheesesteaks, or even the legendary Franklin's barbecue straight from Texas to your door. And with Valentine's Day coming up, they also have great gifts like award-winning dinners from Peter Luger Steakhouse, world-famous macaroons from Laduri, and even the exact cake served at JFK's wedding to Jackie O.
Yeah, now I love Philly cheesesteaks, especially a good one. And the Philly cheesesteak caught my eye. It was absolutely delicious. It was high quality grub delivered to my door, and it lived up to the lofty expectations I had and the legend of the Philly cheesesteak. It was like having a culinary piece of Philadelphia shipped to me hassle-free. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get quality-wise from online food ordering sites, but Gold Belly absolutely delivers, and this tasted amazing. So whether you're looking to turn game day into an unforgettable experience with friends or want to impress a loved one on Valentine's Day, go to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MileHigh. That's goldbelly.com, code MileHigh for 20% off your first order. And thank you, Gold Belly, for that. I want to grab this comment here. Liquid Alchemy coming in. We have Jedi Masters on offense, Sith Lords on defense. The Pats are nothing but Ewoks. Lance, I don't know if you're familiar with the Star Wars terminology here, but Ewoks are these little fluffy guys that take on the Empire. The bad news is, with this analogy, the Ewoks actually win.
The Ewoks win.
The Ewoks beat the Empire. thanks to some rocks and trees and stuff like that. So I appreciate it, but referring to the past as Ewoks who win and are cannibals as well. They ate the stormtroopers. Don't know if a lot of people know that, but yeah, it's a little bit of a concern with it. But
You're coming at the guy that has the most Star Wars memorabilia I think I've ever seen in my life. Like every Lego set, and like you should see his Christmas tree, guys. I'm going to go a little bit inside baseball here. His Christmas tree is literally a Star Wars Christmas tree, and the top, like the star, is the Death Star. And it plays music, and it does it plays the theme song. It's so freaking cool. Like Eric, you need to take that video you took and send it to us and put it on your Twitter account for everybody to see, because I'm sure someone out there that's a Star Wars junkie like you is really going to appreciate what you do on Christmas every single year.
Yeah, our tree topper is the Star Wars Death Star. But we have Lawrence Rivera. Oh, I closed the things. Lawrence Rivera coming in with the $2 super chat saying, signs Lawrence Rivera for Lance, our Bo Nix bet. Lawrence, I saw your comment on this earlier. I'm not sure. I don't remember any bet about it. I don't remember this. You may have to remind us about that here. Scrolling through the chat real quick before we can get into this, see if there's anything else. Lawrence Rivera saying with the $5 super chat, much love, guys. Let's go Broncos. We've never been in this long. We need to lock down the wide receivers. They look scary good. It's not necessarily the wide receivers are scary good. It's Drake May is great. Like I'll give Nick all sorts of crap. And if anybody in chat, let's just go to Nick. I'm going to completely deny it. But Drake May has been phenomenal. And I've been pestering Nick about him not being as good as he looks just to bother Nick, but he looks so good. And it is such a tough matchup. And we're going to be getting into that here in just actually, we can get into that right now as I'm all caught up on the chat. But Drake May, if you are not aware, man, zone, blitz, no non-blitz, it doesn't matter. He is as good against all of those as he is the other. He is such a hard quarterback to defend against because he's just such a smart quarterback, very, talented, obviously athletic. He has all those traits that you want. But he does have one big issue. He has a rookie left tackle who has really been struggling. He has small hands that do make it a little bit harder to grip the ball. And he led the NFL in fumbles this year. This has become my favorite stat for this game. Since 2000, there have been 2 pass rushers that have 3+ sacks and 2+ forced fumbles in a playoff game. And it was Odafe Owe against the New England Patriots almost 3 weeks ago. And then Will Anderson against the New England Patriots last Sunday. So that is lining up very well for Nick Bonitto. But to counter that, I think it was Brian Baldinger who absolutely laid into Jonathan Cooper. And it's great to see. I've been calling out Jonathan Cooper for 2 months now.
Yep.
For how bad he's been. He's been a liability. Let's be blunt. He has been a liability on this defense. Not getting after the quarterback as well, opening up, taking himself out of position, playing a very selfish brand of football when it comes to him to play as a pass rusher and not being worth it because he's not being able to get home. Not only is Nick Bonitto poised to have a big game, they have to have Jonathan Cooper step on it because the Patriots, they are most effective running the ball behind Morgan Moses, their right tackle, and that right side of their line, it's great. Michael Onwenu and Morgan Moses, they've done a great job. So Nick Bonitto can capitalize against Will Campbell on that left side, but they have to have Jonathan Cooper be able to hold up on that and keep Drake May in the pocket because he can be dangerous when he gets out of the pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone wants to talk about Drake May, the pocket passer. And I mean, guys, you go through the advanced analytics of what Drake May has done. I mean, number one in EPA, total EPA, by far, by the way, number one in EPA per play. I believe he had the second most passing yards in the NFL this season. You put him under pressure, the EPA numbers are even better. I mean, it's like more than double the next. So his numbers are double the next from the next player up. EPA, same way. Intermediate throws, long throws. This guy is just incredible. He's playing like literally one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's no surprise when you look at the numbers why he is considered an MVP candidate and is probably going to win the damn thing unless Matthew Stafford does, which very well could happen. This guy's incredible. Talking about EPA, get the nerd stats, the nose picker stats here for you. EPA per play versus man coverage. 0.3 plus 0.3. You're adding over a quarter of a point per drop back versus man coverage. Zone coverage, you want to ask that question? Yeah, plus 0.35. The guy is just dominant all over the field. And it doesn't, every time he drops back, he's adding a quarter of a point to the point total for the New England Patriots every single time he throws the football. It's incredible. The way that he's accurate, he's got the arm strength, he has mobility more than people really want to admit. Like, he can take off and run and damage you with his legs. Like, this is really the biggest, toughest test that the Broncos are going to face this season, despite what everyone wants to say. And the Patriots and having this week's schedule. Did the Broncos play anybody really that's a world beater outside of the Bills last week? No. Like, so Drake May beat the best defense in the NFL. It helped that CJ Stroud threw 4 interceptions and fumbled the ball and 5 turnovers.
He was a shell of himself. But it's funny you mentioned the quality of opponents in terms of DVOA. The Patriots had the easiest schedule. The Broncos had the second easiest.
Exactly. Like, it really doesn't matter. And you can only play it. This is the biggest saying in football. You can only play the teams that are in front of you, and you have to win games you're supposed to win. The Patriots did that. They won games they were supposed to win, and they put themselves in position to be in the AFC Championship game, much like the Denver Broncos did. So we can't have that argument anymore.
Yeah.
What has happened in the playoffs, though, is completely different from what has happened in the regular season. The Patriots averaged 28.8 points per game in the regular season. They scored 16 against the Chargers, and that's a really good defense. They scored 21 on offense. I'm going to say this on offense. The final score was 28-16, I believe. They scored 21 on offense and had a pick 6 early in the game. Their offense has not been great, and they have, like you said, 2 players, Odafe Owe, Will Anderson, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The only 2 times that's happened since 2000 in postseason history.
Yeah,
like. This offensive line, Drake May's been sacked, I think, 10 times and has 4 fumbles. He fumbled the ball 4 times against the Texans. The Patriots were lucky to get 2 of those back and keep their drives going. Denver has a distinct and very
Lance has been having internet issues even before we're going live. So hopefully he's. You there?
I'm here. Just go ahead. I was off on a tangent.
Again, don't tell him like this. Drake May should be the MVP. Like, he is with what he's done. It's been absolutely great. And it is a tough matchup, but the Broncos, they have those avenues to success against this team. He makes a lot of plays. He's got some receivers that work well with what he does. But I think the biggest component here is that you got to watch out for those tight ends. Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper are good quality tight ends that can really be very damaging for the defense, especially when you look at the miscommunications that the Broncos have had on defense between Alex Singleton, Talanoa Hufanga, and Dre Greenlaw, specifically when it comes to tight ends. There were like 2 big plays to, I think, Dawson Knox against the Bills. One of them, Alex Singleton's calling the play, and Dre Greenlaw just runs the wrong play, and boom, there's a big opening for Dawson Knox. And the other one, Talanoa Hufanga, was caught carrying a receiver down deep when he shouldn't have been because of the way the play was. So you got to clean up those communication errors. And it's very concerning with the fact that the Broncos are starting to have these communication errors so much since about week 13, 14 is when they really started to have them. So I don't know what's going on there. And Lance, I said this, and you can disagree with me all you want. Anybody can disagree with me with this. I don't really care on that. I am more concerned about what version of this defense we're going to get than Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, because we know Sean Payton, even though I have a lot of questions about him with play calling as of late, we still know he's a good quarterback. We can look at what he's done with backup quarterbacks throughout his career, and especially as of late with the last few years with the Saints, and then a couple years ago what he was getting out of Jarrett Stidham. And you can have not necessarily good insight into what Stidham's going to do, but what we're going to get out of this offense, and it's still going to be it's still going to chug along. But this defense has to turn up. A lot of people are pointing to those 5 takeaways against the Bills. That's great. But it still came down to an interception in overtime to give the Broncos the win, even after 4 takeaways, because the 6 other drives that they had, they allowed the Bills to score.
Yep.
This defense is concerning, and it's very concerning going up against quarterback with Drake May. Even though he doesn't have a ton of great weapons, he has quality weapons that all know their role, and they do their role extremely well.
Yeah, I want to bring this comment from US Dave 2115 here. This is actually kind of an astute comment here, because Sean Payton has been like blasting, not really blasting, urging fans, that is probably the better way to say that, to be loud when teams are in the huddle. If you're at home, you need to be loud when teams are in the huddle, not only at the line of scrimmage, because it alters the communication from the offensive side of the football. It also does that for the defensive side of the football too, guys. Like, we got to understand that these guys can't hear. The defensive breakdowns over the last 6 weeks of the season has been when Sean Payton has urged the fans to be loudest in the huddle. This team is still good enough, especially what they do with the secondary, what they do with their pass rush, what they do with their blitz packages, that this defense is still good enough to be able to go out and force these turnovers against the Buffalo Bills, keep the Chargers out of the end zone. They did a really good job defensively, but these critical breakdowns and miscommunication errors can also be attributed to the loud crowd. I'm not going to say that it needs to stop by any stretch of the imagination, because this defense is still very good. You can attribute that very easily as a communication breakdown because they can't hear each other talk. The hand signals and whatnot that they're using, they're not actually catching that, and you can see that on tape. So whatever these communication breakdowns are actually happening, may be happening in their defensive huddle as well. So it's kind of a catch-22. I want to just bring that point really quickly. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, watching these communication errors and everything like that, I don't think the crowd noise or the hand signals or anything like that's that. I just think it's guys not knowing what the play's being changed to.
And yeah, there's
especially with Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was. There was
he's been bad.
One of the Broncos beat guys. He came out and said that, we're getting around to like week 13, week 14, and he's coming out commenting that Dre Greenlaw is still struggling knowing the playbook.
Yeah, that's not good.
When he's at fault for like 3 or 4 of the, recent big miscommunications out of maybe, 8 to 10. Yeah, it's not the crowd noise. Although it is an issue, and I do think some of them can be attributed to that. I think there is one with Riley Moss against the Jaguars, to go back that far, that I do think was crowd noise. With that. But yeah, it's a lot of issues, and it's just they got to have their head on a swivel, and they just got to really know their assignment and figure something out. And that is one of the reasons why you're loud in the huddle, because when you watch the Broncos defense, they typically start going through the play stuff after the huddle breaks. When they're lining up, that's when they start going through it.
Yep.
They get that basic communication down, and then they start making their changes, adjust. A lot of match coverage from them, which is why I'm not attributing it to crowd noise when they huddle up. So it is. And somebody came in and, will Sean do any trick plays? I think it would be safe to say that they might try at least one on that. Before we get over to the Broncos offense against this Patriots defense, I want to bring up special teams real quick.
Yes.
The Patriots have one of the worst punt coverage units in the NFL this year. And we know how dangerous Marvin Mims can be as a punt returner. So this is going to go back to my point about the defense and them needing them to show up. They got to force more punts. They can't allow 10 for 14 on third down against the Bills. They can't do that. And then 1 for 1 on fourth down. Force some punts and get the ball, be able to give one of your best playmakers right now a chance with the ball in his hands at something he does well that can really attack a weakness of the Patriots, because their punt coverage, again, it is not good.
No, it's not. But they also have the most explosive punt return unit in the NFL this season. Even better.
Yeah, they're very good at returning punts.
They're very. But going back to what you just said here, the Broncos didn't force a punt, and everyone's like, it was all up in arms about that. Yeah, they forced 5 turnovers in that game as well. But I also think that the Broncos, with their distinct advantage rushing the passer in this game particularly, and with Drake May's been sacked the 4th most times in the NFL. The Broncos have 68 sacks, by far the most in the NFL. You're going to get those third down plays where Drake May holds on to the football a little bit too long, and you're going to get the opportunity to get after him and end a couple of drives. The Bills' offensive line last week played a really, really good game, despite allowing 3 sacks. Was it 3 or 4? I can't remember. So they got after Josh Allen as well, forced a bunch of turnovers. You have the opportunity now with one of the worst turnover efficiency quarterbacks in the NFL this season. He's thrown a lot of picks. He's also fumbled the football a lot, most in the NFL. you get after this offensive line, you have an opportunity to really start to force those punts and unleash Marvin Mims. The question that I have is, can you turn those punts into points? And with Jarrett Stidham, there's really good opportunities. I can't wait to break this down with you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's fumbled the ball 14 times, next highest. You have 3 quarterbacks there at 11. Josh Allen sitting at 10 as the 5th highest. So there's definitely an opportunity there with that. But got to force the punts. Got to do what you can. Got to give it to the playmaker. Now, instead of going into matchups and everything, I have a question for you about this offense.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be Jarrett Stidham's favorite target?
Oh man, that's difficult. That's really difficult. So I went back and watched a lot of Jarrett Stidham in the preseason, and I went back and watched the game that he had with the Las Vegas Raiders against the San Francisco 49ers a couple of days ago. And honestly, I think it's going to be Courtland Sutton, because this dude is not scared to rip a dig route over the middle of the field in any way, shape, or form. And that's what they asked Courtland Sutton to do. He runs a lot of slants, and he runs a lot of dig routes, in breaking routes, 15 yards, 12 to 15 yards in breaking routes. Crossing routes, if Troy Franklin's available, that would be cool. I think that he could be that guy. Marvin Mims on some deep shots would be fun, but I think Courtland Sutton is really the guy you're going to have to watch for in this particular game. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do if they mask Courtland Sutton with Christian Gonzalez. That would be a very fun matchup to watch. If they move Courtland Sutton around and he can go against Carlton Davis, I think you have a distinct matchup advantage there with Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, I want to come back to that one because I have a fun little fact about Carlton Davis and Courtland Sutton here. Little Jordan Humphrey.
Interesting.
Who was Stidham's favorite target, a couple years ago when he came in for Russell Wilson? Little Jordan Humphrey. Who was his favorite target in practice? I don't know if you know this. His favorite target in practices last year. Little Jordan Humphrey. Ever since he's come back, Little Jordan Humphrey came back to Denver this year. Who's been Jarrett Stidham's favorite target? Little Jordan Humphrey. They have a connection, and I think that when you have a quarterback receiver connection like that, especially with the backup, you really look to play into that. So I'm looking for a Little Jordan Humphrey on this one, and I said it this morning. That said, he has to catch the ball. He's got to catch the ball. He's got to come down with it. He should have came down with that touchdown. That is inexcusable against the Bills, and almost came back to haunt the Broncos, honestly, in that game. So he's got to come down to it. You mentioned the over the middle stuff, the digs and everything. Little Jordan Humphrey does that as well. One of Stidham's, at least in practice, from what I heard, he really likes those quick slants, and Little Jordan Humphrey has been that often the target for those. And they like Little Jordan Humphrey with what he can do after the catch. So I'm really curious to see what they are able to do. Toro coming in and saying my whole family is Patriots fan. Absolutely terrible. It could be worse. It could be worse.
Right. They could be Raiders fans.
They could be Raiders fans.
They could be Raiders fans.
Although Patriots fans don't deserve anything good, and the fact that they have 2 players being able to play despite their legal issues right now is annoying, but the NFL, they got to figure some things out. But anyways, I digress. Carlton Davis. He is, although a lot of Bronco fans will like to act like it's Riley Moss, Carlton Davis is the most penalized defensive back in the NFL. He actually leads the NFL in defensive pass interference and defensive holding calls. Not individually, combined, just to be clear. And then I think it is 12th for Courtland Sutton in the most defensive pass interference calls drawn by a wide receiver. Do whatever you can to match that up. Carlton Davis is a very aggressive corner. He's very good. So you have to be a little bit careful with it. But he does like to get grabby. He does like to, get hands-on and all that. You can take advantage of that. Not only with Courtland Sutton. He is the type of corner that this is a Riley Moss fault, and a lot of other corners are. This I'm just going to Moss. When he starts to get beat, he will grab and ride it.
Yep.
That is what has drawn quite a few flags on Riley Moss. Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin, if he plays, I would definitely look at trying to get that matchup there as well and try to play in that. Penalties are part of the game, and they're always always something that I can complain about and everything like that. But if you can use them to your advantage, yeah, you definitely look to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into Jarrett Stidham here for a second, because I kind of brought it up. Watching the preseason games and watching that game against the San Francisco 49ers a couple years ago, again, one thing that he likes to do is he's not scared to put the football, I don't want to say in harm's way, but he's not scared to take chances. Like that's going to be a significant thing to watch in this game. He's going to push the ball over the middle of the field. He's going to take some seam shots. He's going to take some deep shots. Bo was really good taking some deep shots, but he is more of a guy that's going to like avoid sacks, take what's given to him, check the ball down, and it's one of the reasons why everyone thinks that he's not a good quarterback, despite winning 25 games in his first 2 seasons. With Stidham here, I think that you might actually see this passing game open up, especially on the mills and dagger mesh concepts. I think, like, quite honestly, this passing game could open up here with the amount of zone coverage that the New England Patriots play. I believe it's like 60%, right at 60% zone coverage, and then they play a lot of zero. They do a great job disguising their defensive coverages. It's going to be difficult. But with the amount of zone that they play, Jarrett Stidham has an opportunity over the middle of the field that I don't think that you see with Bo Nix in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing, possibility for it. You're going to win some and lose some. Obviously, as I talked about earlier, you definitely lose the heart of Bo Nix in that drive.
Yeah. Yep.
You lose the sack avoidance. Jarrett Stidham has almost 3 times the amount, 3 times the sack percentage compared to Bo Nix. So need the offensive line on point. But he does like to air it out a little bit more. He likes to be a little bit more aggressive, for better or worse. So we could definitely see a little bit more of that out there. And man, I just gotta say, has nothing to do with football and everything like that. I clicked over to Twitter to see if there was any kind of updates. And LSU gymnast got a perfect 10 on the balance beam. I'm a big fan of gymnastics, especially when it comes to the Olympics. And congrats to her. Perfect 10 on the balance beam.
That's pretty cool.
It's tough. But anyways, getting back to the game, Denver did get a little bit of good news on the injury front as well in terms of the Patriots. Harold Landry has been ruled out for this game.
Yep.
And I will tell you, not that Clavion Chasen and Harold Landry are, great pass rushers. They are very good. But their ability to force, it's very, so, Zach Kuhn? I can't remember his name.
Zach Kuhn.
Zach Kuhn. He's the defensive player call for the Patriots. He's been very aggressive ever since he took over play calling. They started blitzing more, and he really loves to do, it's the Vance Joseph playbook. He loves to force the one-on-ones with tackles and capitalize off that, throw a safety blitz or a slot blitz in there at them to really strain them when you get that one-on-one, get that free blitzer. Mike McGlinchey and Garrett Bowles, they have to be very alive in this one, and Mike McGlinchey especially, he's been very inconsistent all season long. No Harold Landry is a boost, but they are still a threat. They are a deep unit. They have a lot of talented guys that can get after the quarterback. So I am excited for that. And it's not just them, not the offensive, not just those tackles against the edges. Ben Powers and Quinn Miners against Milton Williams and Christian Barmore is tough. And Denver's got to get figured out an answer there, because those guys can destroy a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Christian Barmore, and especially in the running game. So the Broncos have had one of the most inconsistent running games in the NFL this season, outside of when J.K. Dobbins was playing for him. Not getting J.K. back kind of hurts. I was really kind of hoping that they would get there. But Christian Barmore, dude, he can corkscrew himself into the ground so easily. Milton Williams, not the best run defender. He's still very, very good. The pass rush, though, and especially with Stidham's, I don't want to say inability to like escape pressure, because he's more mobile than people want to give him credit for. He's the number 1 rated dual threat quarterback in the college recruiting cycle coming out of high school. Like this dude can run. He still has the ability to get yards with his legs. It's the pocket maneuverability, the creativity behind the offensive line. And you're not going to see that this week because it's not Bo Nix. Bo Nix may not be the most creative player behind the line of scrimmage, but damn it, he does well enough to avoid sacks. With Stidham keeping his eyes downfield and not maneuvering the pocket the right way, Christian Barmore and Milton Williams can absolutely wreak havoc on this offensive line. Like you said, if you get Luke Wattenberg back, the communication is probably going to step up from Alex Forsyth because Luke Wattenberg does a really good job setting protections. You need Ben Powers and you need Quinn Miners to win these one-on-one matchups because you're going to have a lot of them. They're going to send some free pressure. They're going to send some disguised coverages and blitzes, zone blitzes from the cornerback. You're going to have that communication up front. And Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, they can win one-on-one against guards at will. So the offensive line communication is going to be critical in this game.
Yeah, and that was definitely, I'm glad you touched on it. Luke Wattenberg is a significantly better pass protector than Alex Forsyth.
Yep.
And Alex Forsyth, when he had to start last year in 2024 for Luke Wattenberg, he actually was a better run defender, but he was struggling there a lot this year, and the communication really took a hit. A lot of teams took advantage of that and with some good success. So hopefully Luke Wattenberg back and able to do that, because otherwise Christian Barmore, I think it's safe to say he can get a stranglehold on this game if you don't account for him. If you know the joke with Christian Barmore and a stranglehold.
You know what? It went over my head until you brought it up. That's really good. That's really, really good, by the way.
But yeah, there's no place in this world for domestic violence. Period. End of story. But anyways, getting back to the game, yeah, they got to watch out for it. And it's not that, as you touch on, Stidham, he's not an unathletic quarterback. He's not a statue in the backfield. He can move around.
He's not Joe Flacco, if you wanted to put it that way.
Yeah,
like Joe Flacco was like,
Flacco.
I'm going to plant my feet in the ground and stand right here.
And as you said, he was, coming out of high school, he was the number one dual threat in a class that included Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. So he can do well, and I think that he can surprise you with his legs. And then I think Sean Payton, this is one where you got to run, even if it's unsuccessful. You got to keep the run game going, because you got to be able to use play action off of that, and you got to be a threat with play action off of that. And if you give up on the run and you run play action, teams won't care. If they'll let you run up them if you're not, they'll let themselves get caught with an actual run that looks like a play action instead of, not. But
yeah,
so you got to keep that a threat in this one. This is on Sean Payton. I don't think his play calling has been great over the last few games, even against the Bills. It was a great first half, and there were some good plays and calls in the second one, but the lack of running against one of the worst rushing defenses, a defense that loves to sit in those two high shells, similar to the Patriots, that dares you to run against them. Well, run, and he didn't. And I know Denver ended up having some issues there, but you got to stick with it. Fortunately, Denver was able to overcome it, but this is a big one for Sean Payton. Like, you need to, and I think he knows that. Sean Payton is on the verge of making history. No coach has been the head coach of a team for two different teams and won a Super Bowl. And he is, 2 wins away from making that happen. He is a win away from having that possibility. Obviously, he would want Bo Nix there. I think he's going to have some stuff up his sleeve with Jarrett Stidham. And on that, talking about coaching, I wouldn't be surprised if we come to find out that Davis Webb is having a little bit more of a say in the play calling in this one with Jarrett Stidham, because there is no bigger relationship on a football team than your backup quarterback and your quarterback coach. That is the best relationship that you have on there. No one knows Jarrett Stidham better than Davis Webb.
Yep, I don't disagree with you, and that's a really good point. I didn't actually think about that. Especially with all the interview hype around Davis Webb for head coaching positions, or even the offensive coordinator position, in Buffalo. That's like a very, very real kind of a thing. So that's really kind of the news there. But your backup quarterback is always the most liked person in the city that you're in, especially in Denver. And they have that relationship. They literally spend every single day together for several hours going through tape. They work together constantly, and they're trying to help find the best way for your starter to actually have the best success that they possibly can have. And with Davis Webb being that quarterback's coach, and the success that he had, was it the Arizona Cardinals game in the preseason where Davis Webb was actually calling the plays, and Jarrett Stidham had a really, it was a really, really good game. Jarrett Stidham had a really good game in that game.
Yeah.
But it all ties back together in with what the strengths are of Jarrett Stidham. It really does. Pushing the ball down the field, being aggressive, taking shots over the middle of the field, not being scared to take off and use your legs. I mean, there's tape of this actually happening. It may be a preseason game. It may have been 3 years ago against the San Francisco 49ers when Jarrett Stidham was playing underneath Josh McDaniels with the Las Vegas Raiders. This guy can play football, man. Like he's very, very good. There's one of the reasons why Sean Payton made him like the priority signing, his first offseason signing as the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a reason why Sean Payton likes Jarrett Stidham and said that I have two guys that I believe could start for any team in the NFL. Any team. Like
any team is a bit of an exaggeration, let's be honest here.
Well,
but
that's true.
I will say this. Sean Payton made this comment, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. Jarrett Stidham is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, absolutely.
There were a lot of teams that were making a push for Jarrett Stidham last offseason, the Patriots being right there in the running, and it came down to Jarrett Stidham deciding between the Patriots and Denver. He chose to stay in Denver. When you look at the other 32 starters in the NFL, and even some backups, I think that he is definitely top 32. Yeah. I don't think he's top 25, but I think he's in that range. Mm-hmm. I think you can go out there and win games with him. And I think he's so coveted, and we know he's was so coveted that teams made a good offer for him prior to the trade deadline this year, and Denver turned it down. Yeah. And other teams came calling. He's still under contract for another year. I think no matter what the outcome of this game is, unless he goes out there and completely sinks it up, there's going to be more teams calling for him as a trade piece in this one.
Watch him go to the Raiders with Vance Joseph.
If they're trading for it, fine. But I don't think Vance Joseph's going to the Raiders. So,
that's right. Stidham's under contract next year. That's right.
Yeah, Stidham's under contract. He signed a 2-year deal, so it has to be for a trade. Todd Ossendorf saying, on a side note, how many compensatory picks could the Broncos get if these coaches leave that are being looked at for promotions with other teams? 2, and it's only for Vance Joseph.
Yep.
They can get one this year and one next year. Davis Webb wouldn't get one because it's only for in front office to general manager and for coaches to head coach. So if Davis Webb or Jamar Cain go and get a job as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator in the case of Jamar Cain, well, Davis Webb doesn't qualify. He's not a minority. Jamar Cain wouldn't get it because defensive coordinators aren't included in that. It's only the head coaches. So Vance Joseph would have to do that. And that's the only ones they can get unless there is somebody inside the front office that is being looked at for general manager, which I think the general manager jobs are all filled already.
Yes.
Well, there's that. So Denver can get 2 unless somebody surprises and out of nowhere and assigns somebody else to a head coaching gig that's a minority.
So it's only coordinator to head coach. So Jamar Cain wouldn't qualify as a defensive line to defensive coordinator if Vance Joseph, let's say, like, for example, Vance Joseph took the job with the Raiders, and he brought Jamar Cain as a defensive coordinator. That only Vance
that would not
Joseph
count.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd get the 2 for Vance. You'd get the 2 for Vance Joseph to be head coach, but not for Jamar Cain. And they also have to be with the team for a certain amount of time.
Okay,
that also matters. So
that's a good point. But
yeah, it's only the head coach or general manager, which kind of stinks. But the Eagles, they'll be getting, or the Eagles, they won't be getting Christian Parker. I think this is a relevant one just to kind of highlight the point. Eagles won't be getting any compensatory picks because Christian Parker, even though he's being hired away, it's to a defense coordinator job, not a head coaching job.
Yep, in Dallas.
In Dallas. And also another thing is, I keep talking about this, being a pass game coordinator or run game coordinator, going to defensive or offensive coordinator, it's still a promotion that can't be blocked. Eagles couldn't block the hiring.
Yep. All right. So before we close out the show here, I'm gonna take control of the wheel here for a minute. Right. X factors. I've
already done X factors today.
Did you write it? Is it on Mile High Huddle?
No, I did it this morning. But I was going to ask you who yours. I was going to ask you who yours are, and I was going to tell people you guys go watch the show from this morning for my X factors.
Gotcha.
So who's your X factor on offense?
All right. So X factor for the Broncos offense to me is going to be Marvin Mims, and with the injury news, even though Pat Bryant sounds like he's going to be able to come back, Troy Franklin, we don't know with the hamstring right now. We just watched Marvin Mims go out, catch 8 catches on 8 targets for 93 yards and a touchdown. This guy has to be a big part of this offense. And quite honestly, I heard one of the most ridiculous statistics on the radio earlier today. If you're in the betting market, this is the easiest money you've ever heard in your life. The over-under on rushing yards for Marvin Mims in this game is 2.5. I believe that Marvin Mims is going to get a reverse or some kind of rushing attempt because you got to pull out all the stops. Marvin Mims has been in the backfield before. We saw it with him against the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe that Marvin Mims is going to have at least one rushing attempt for more than 2.5 yards. So, yeah, I would bet on that at least, if nothing else, a $5 bet. You're going to win $7, whatever it is. Marvin Mims, to me, though, with the injuries to Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin and what he just showed you against a solid Bills secondary, absolutely, man. And with Jarrett Stidham wanting to take chances down the field, Marvin Mims is the absolute X factor in this game, and especially as a punt returner, too.
Yeah, my X factor was a little Jordan Humphrey on offense, just because of that connection for it. Marvin Mims is a good one. RJ Harvey is another one, and I believe, if I remember right, that's who Nick had. I mean, if he's not going to make an impact on the running game, you need him to make an impact on the passing game and be the outlet for it. Whatever the case, you need all three of those guys. Without Bo Nix, you need everyone on offense to step up around him.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive X factor. Who's yours?
Can I cheat a little bit?
No.
Please?
No.
Because I actually at least let me put the stat out here. The X factor for the Broncos defense is Kayshon Boutte. And the reason why
he doesn't play defense for the Broncos. He doesn't care.
Well, I understand that, but this is the matchup that you need to figure out. Whether it's Jaquan McMillan, whether it's Riley Moss, whether it's Surtain, whoever lines up alongside or across from Kayshon Boutte, that's the matchup you need to watch. Because Kayshon Boutte has I had the numbers in my head and now I forgot them. Regardless, Kayshon Boutte in the regular season, every single catch that he had either went for a first down or a touchdown. He only had one catch in the postseason that did not have that result. Every time the guy touches the football, the Patriots are moving the chains or putting points on the scoreboard. That is the guy that you have to figure it out. That's the X factor for the Broncos defense. You have to find a matchup and figure out a way to erase a guy that can get vertical on you, and he can work over the middle of the field if he needs to. Like that to me is the true X factor for the Broncos defense is how do you match up against Kayshon Boutte? If you want me to isolate a single player, I would probably go with Zach Allen. And specifically against their left guard, I'm forgetting his name. He's a rookie. Thank you, Jarrett Wilson. So that left side of the offensive line, whether it's Nick Benito or is Zach Allen, that's where the Patriots bring the most, allow the most pressure is coming from the left side of their offensive line. That to me, it's kind of a cop out because Zach Allen's one of the best defensive linemen in football. But if you can take advantage of the interior offensive line, specifically their left guard, and force Drake May to eat the football and get after him from the interior, that to me is the biggest key in this game. It's not necessarily Nick Benito versus Will Campbell. The interior pressure is really where Drake May has struggled the most this season. So to me, Zach Allen, Malcolm Roach, John Franklin Myers, whatever you do, attack that left guard.
I think that you touched on something. And I wrote, this is one of the things that I wrote about in my key matchups article for the week. John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen against Michael Onwenu and Jarrett Wilson. And in obvious rundowns, you need Zach Allen against Michael Onwenu because Onwenu would absolutely destroy John Franklin Myers, and John Franklin Myers can actually win against Jarrett Wilson. And then on passing downs, you need to flip that because Zach Allen, with his strength and ability to just bull rush people, that is such a significant advantage for Denver because Jarrett Wilson doesn't have a lot of sand in his pants. He can't drop an anchor, and when he does, he is very late to anchor. And then you have a little bit of a speedier guy against Michael Onwenu, who I'm a big fan of Michael Onwenu. I have been going back to college, but he's a little bit big and he's a little bit more of a lumbered mover. He can work in a phone booth. He can drive downfield, but the quickness of John Franklin Myers can be more beneficial against Denver on that. So I'd love to see Denver switch those guys up a little bit. My X factor was Talanoa Hufanga, and a part of it goes with the communication errors, and part of it is, being a tone maker or a tone setter and helping eliminate tight ends because I'm not as concerned about Keyshawn Butte or Stephon Diggs or anything like that. I am really concerned about Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry with where the Broncos' issues have been with this game. So, Lance, last thing before we get out of here, last two things. One, a quick, bold prediction. Could be offense, defense, whatever. One quick, bold prediction.
So first and foremost, go check out milehighhuddle.com and check out the Mile High Huddle Roundtable where
You're getting there in a second. That's next.
I understand, but it goes into my bold prediction here. I think the Broncos get another 4 takeaways. I really do, because of the pressure that they're able to create on Drake May. You get a couple fumbles, force him into some bad timing situations, and the way that the secondary has been playing, especially over the last couple of games. I think you get 4 takeaways from this New England Patriots offense. And I said 5 sacks in my official prediction. Let's dial that up to 7.
How many takeaways are caused by Nick Benito?
2.
Lance, every week I write my bold predictions, and one of my bold predictions is Nick Benito has 2 strip sacks, and the Broncos have 4 takeaways.
I don't read.
You guys stop doing a show together because we share too much of the no, my bold prediction is I'm gonna try to think of one that I didn't have in the article. Which I had Cortland Sutton eclipsing 100 yards. I can't remember. I had something about Jarrett Stidham, and then I had the 2 on defense about the total takeaways and Nick Benito. Denver has 2 kick returns that go over 40 yards.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Can I alter this for a second and just say 1 kick return and 1 punt return? Because you're getting that punt return. You think 2 kick returns?
I'm saying 2 kick returns. Doesn't mean I don't think that they'll get a punt return. I just don't think it's very bold to go punt. I think it's bold to go kick, especially with the rules, especially with how Denver's kick return unit has struggled to find those explosive plays. And the Patriots are really good in kick coverage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Denver, I think maybe Darren Rizzi has something up his sleeve, something. I think Denver manages to pull it off a couple times and gets at least 2 40 plus yard kick returns.
Can I add one really quick? Just a quick one. With Sean Payton and his penchant for like trying to attack with some trick plays, it's been all season long. He threw a touchdown pass, but not Sean Payton, but Bo Nix threw a touchdown pass to Frank Crum last week, man. I think we're going to get a trick play, and I think RJ Harvey's going to throw a touchdown pass. All
right. Now, score prediction. Now, if you guys don't know, you guys can go to milehighhuddle.com and you guys can check out the whole round table of Mile High Huddle and see what we all picked. I can you guys say Lance is dead last in the records for the MHH. So
am I?
Yep.
Really?
You're at like 12, you're 12-6, I think is what it is.
The early season
13,
struggles.
14 or 15.
As I say, the early season struggles for me were bad. I will say they were quite bad.
So what's your score prediction? We got to get out of
here. As I say in the article, guys, again, milehighhuddle.com, go check out the Mile High Roundtable. I say in the article that if the Broncos can get 5 sacks and rush for 100 yards, Jarrett Stidham throws 2 touchdown passes. The Broncos are going to win this game. 24-20, Broncos go to the Super Bowl, buddy.
Phil McLaughlin coming in saying 27-21. I'm not too far off for you. There's a 3-point difference. I have Denver winning 27-18, just outside that 1-score range. And I think it's going to come. I think Denver's going to get a big takeaway late, and that's going to be the difference maker and get that and secure the game for them.
It's going to be that strip sack from Nick Benito, dude. It really is. Nick Benito.
It's going to be the Riley Moss pick 6.
I'm here for that life too. But Nick Benito, guys, that's the matchup you want to watch. Nick Benito versus Will Campbell is going to be really, really fun for Broncos fans on Sunday.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Before we get out of here, we do have some last things to say. One, as you can see, scrolling across the bottom of your screen, or if you're listening to this after the fact, you can just, listen to what I'm about to say. You guys can subscribe, like, and share. Those are ways that help us with the algorithms that are ever changing, especially on Facebook and YouTube. It only takes a matter of time. No cost to you. Again, just takes, 10, 15 seconds at most. You guys can also support us in a way financially with super chats on Facebook or on YouTube and stars on Facebook. They are dedicated to us. It helps us keep the lights on, helps us do us, and helps us give a little bit of, a little bit of money for our time spent with you, even though we do enjoy spending the time with you, money or not. Money helps obviously with us supporting our families and everything. And again, keeping the lights on helps us pay the electric bills. You can also become a member over at or at youtube.com/@MileHuddle, where you guys get access to exclusive content, which I still got to get around to talking to Chad about a couple ideas that I had. And we want to thank everybody who is a member, and we appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate everybody, but the members especially. We appreciate you guys just a hair, just a little bit more. You guys can also go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review for a chance to win some gear, not swag. I hate saying swag every single month. It is another way to help us with the algorithms and help us get in front of more eyes and more people. And word of mouth is another way that can really help us. I don't know. I've run into a few people that know about MHH, and they've heard it through word of mouth, even way up here in the cold. You guys can go to join the Discord server. It is in the description down below. You guys get access to us. Most of us. I know I'm on there. Lance, I've seen you on there. Chad's on there. Still got to get more of the staff on there, but you guys can get access to the wonderful community that we were building up through the Discord and kind of bringing over to Discord, as well as getting access to all sorts of other stuff we have going on over there. You can follow us on Instagram at @MileHuddle with an underscore between mile and high and huddle. You guys can also support us if you can financially. Go to mhhmerch.com where you guys can get hats like the one I have on, or shirts. You guys can get your gear on, not swag. I hate saying swag. And we appreciate you. And you guys can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MileHuddle, facebook.com/MileHuddlePod, where you guys can get access to the wonderful Facebook community that we built up over the last 13 years of us doing this. Well, of me doing this. Lance, you haven't been here that long.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years isn't 13.
It's still a long time, man. Come on, give me some credit where credit is due.
A long time, man. And your whole fate with Mile Huddle always rested in my hands because I was the one who gave approval of you joining.
I understand.
And I'll always hold that over your head. But
you're also the one that reached out to me to start doing this podcast back in I think it was May of 2019.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure because of you.
But you guys can join us and be part of the wonderful Facebook community there. Of course, there's always the Discord as well. You guys can follow us on Twitter or X, whatever it is you want to call it, at MileHuddle, at DVDD_pod, and at the MHH pod. And Lance and myself at Lance S_MHH and at Erick Trickel, ERICK_TRICKEL. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are one of the many Mile High Huddle broadcasts that come to you every single night of the week and twice in the morning. We appreciate you guys. We love y'all. We support you. We're all Broncos fans. We're all, hoping for a win, but win or lose, this has been a very successful season. And I could not have been happier to be able to experience the season with not just, the staff of Mile High Huddle, with Nick and Lance, who you guys haven't been here before for a season like this, but also those of you in the chat, because we weren't doing shows last time this happened. Even though I was covering the Broncos, we weren't doing shows. It's just all written content. So thankful that we've been able to have this time. But Lance, before we get out of here, any last words?
No, I again just want to kind of repeat what Erick just said there. Like I said, Erick, you and I have been doing Dove Valley Deep Diver since 2019. That's 6 years ago in August. So it's been a long time since we've been able to have this.
7 in August.
Yeah. Say what?
7 in August.
7 in August. Yes, that's right. Regardless, I can't do math. It's late. No, just appreciative of you guys, everybody who shows up here every Friday night, every night on the Mile High Huddle podcast network. We love and appreciate every single one of you guys. Again, you help keep the lights on. Without you guys, we couldn't do what we do best, which is cover our Denver Broncos. And man, next week on Friday is going to be surreal. Regardless, like it's gonna be a fun show.
Either way, we'll be able to talk about draft. Yeah, Denver either has a bye, or hopefully it's because Denver has a bye week, right? Hopefully they have that time off.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to be surreal because what we watched this season was truly magical. I think the Broncos are going to win. We're going to talk about the NFL draft, talk about the Senior Bowl coming up here soon. The Shrine Game. Erick's watching Shrine Game tape. The draft's right around the corner. We haven't had this opportunity to talk about an AFC Championship game ever. And I promise you guys, it's going to be so much fun regardless. And we love and appreciate you guys. You all stay safe and take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. And as always, let's go Broncos.
Yeah. Now, before we get out of here, just a reminder, if you guys are struggling with your mental health, please reach out to somebody. Suicide is not the answer. The suicide hotline's there. My Twitter DMs are open, Facebook, whatever it is. You can also reach to me through email at alaskanbronco@gmail.com. You guys can reach out to me there. please reach out to somebody if you are struggling. Reach out to friends and family who you may think are struggling, or even if they're not, and just say that you love them and you appreciate them and you care about them. You never know how much those positive words can help somebody. And as I said earlier in the show, there's no place in this world for domestic violence. So if you know somebody who is suffering, please try to do your best to help them. This is definitely a shot at the New England Patriots, but it's even without that, it is still something that should always be done. Don't drink and drive. Stay safe. And as always, choose kindness and compassion. And of course, go Broncos.